Good evening, welcome once more. My name is Myst. Okay. I just found what Abike Dabiri retweeted and added a laughing emoji. I found it ridiculous and beneath any person that holds public office in trust. I explain. You understand that this is not the first time she's done something like this. But one thing is that this time around, she doubles down on what she did. Recall that a couple of days back, she had a tweet on X. A user made a tweet, and the reason why people had attributed that tweet to be a slur against Igbo is as follows. Mrs. Dabiri reposted this tweet on X with a message by the user Akerere, right? This user was praising Abike Dabiri's work and saying in the same tweet, ignore those monkeys and baboons and gorillas, right? In that tweet, there is another Twitter handle, something Igbo, but a Twitter handle that had Igbo in it, that was tagged on that tweet. Someone who is smart, someone who is not being controlled by ethnic sentiment wouldn't have done what she did. But what she did was, the post, the moment she did that, garnered over 15,000 retweet, likes, and the whole thing exploded. Many people started calling for her resignation. And I think her resignation is the best thing to do at this moment in time. I find it so abhorrent that Abike Dabiri, a person I once in the NTA, called a colleague, could be, could have descended this low. She was 3 times in the National Assembly as, elected assembly person. How can she descend this low? I don't know. Many people are making the attribution that this is as a result of Tinubu coming into office, that every single ethnic bigot is beginning to rear their ugly hair. Every single, information that we have points to that. Now, let us look at historical context here. She drew an ethnic criticism, recall, in 2024 when she was accused of a bias after she made a statement that 20 out of 21 that were on a death row in Indonesia were all Igbo. She didn't need to break down that. It's just like many people in the diaspora, when a crime is committed, suddenly the Oyibos will say, from a Nigerian background, from a Cameroonian background. But when that person excels, nobody remembers the Nigerian background again. All they want to claim is British. Have you ever seen a British person of Nigerian origin, of a Jamaican origin, when he or she wins a gold medal? Have you ever seen, congratulations, Mr. X, of a British Nigerian origin? No, they say British. In this case, and when the Oyibo does this to us, we complain. Why are we doing this to ourselves in this case? Abike Dabiri could have, in that last year's tweet, said, sadly, that 20 or 21 Nigerians are on death row. Then she will go ahead and provide reasons why they are on death row and encourage other Nigerians not to follow that path. Now, I do not like also the conversations that come, because when you do that, you're forcing the other side to begin to go dig deep. People started digging that in Saudi Arabia, over 200 Nigerians are on death row. Many of them are from the north, and many of them are from the Yoruba tribe. To what end? Isn't what we're supposed to be doing is that if we are campaigning against drug, then we should campaign against drug, whether it be it in Indonesia, whether it be it in Saudi Arabia, whether it be it in Oman, or whether it be it in Dubai. We are not campaigning against drug because it is a person of Southeast, a person of North, or a person of Southwest. That is absolute nonsense. And that is beneath, again, I can repeat that 20 times, that is not befitting of a person who occupies that position. By that singular act by Abike Dabiri, she risks being, in the bad books of every other Nigerian. That's not right. Because when you look at it, you look at it that this is indeed problematic. Ethnic discrimination, ethnic dehumanization. People will now begin to go back to and tell you, oh, when we wanted to vote in Lagos, people were discriminated from voting as a result of their ethnic looks. That to a point that some Yorubas began to even complain that they were not allowed to vote because of their ethnic looks. Habamana, when did we get to this point? It is disheartening. I must say the least. It is disheartening. If you ask me, what Abike Dabiri should do now is not to start engaging Ohaneze Ndigbo that have called her out. Ohaneze Ndigbo issued a press statement calling her out, demanding that she apologizes for that. Rather than Abike Dabiri apologizing, she doubled down and said there are legal means. Can you imagine? We know those who control the court. You are now telling Ohaneze they can go to court. The same way INEC said you can go to court because you know that the outcome of the court is already predetermined. We talk about making people feel that they are part of this nation. It's not just a mere talk. I was arguing with someone last night and I said, look, Abike Dabiri is the chairman and CEO of NITCOM. She's dealing with Nigerians in the diaspora. Let's take an example, another woman, in the person of Bianca Ojukwu ni Ono. If Bianca Ojukwu was the person in the position currently occupied by Abike Dabiri, and Bianca does this type of thing, just a moment, irrespective of your tribe, think for a moment how that will look. But so far, you have seen how Bianca Ono, in her role as a junior foreign minister, how she has carried herself with dignity without necessarily getting herself bogged down by whether she is Igbo or that the other person is Yoruba or making derogatory remarks. She hardly tweets. Even when she tweets with dignity. I think, Abike Dabiri, you have a lot to learn from Bianca Ono. Do your job. You have done actually a lot of advocacy and activism in terms of creating awareness where people who have been trafficked, within the remit of your job, you have done. I know when I engaged you during the time of COVID, when people were stranded in China, you referred me to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Onyama then, and I got in touch with the minister, who eventually assured me that yes, they are working to get those Nigerians back to Nigeria, and eventually APs helped. Secondly, I engaged Onyama again when the war broke out in Ukraine, and a lot of people reached out to me. I engaged and we worked together to evacuate Nigerian students from Kyiv to some Poland, some Germany and Netherlands. At least there was these concerted efforts to get them out. That is how to work for Nigerians without, in any way, shape or form, whether it is a gray line, to begin to insult and insinuate. If I were in your shoes, even if I wanted to laugh that somebody cracked a joke, if I had read that tweet, understanding that this tweet that has some derogatory terms was reference to a certain segment of the society, because I represent every single person in the society, I would desist from liking, and not only stopping at liking, adding a laughing emoji. Madam, that was totally wrong. Again, I may join those who are calling that you step aside if you're not willing to apologize. You must show some remorse, or you step aside. On this note, I lend my voice to say, Abike Dabiri, you should resign if you are not able to learn and if you're not able to apologize for this diatribe. There was no need. You could have let it go. You could have let it slide. Anyone who is a public officer must be willing to take public bashing. That is one hazard that comes with the job. If you can't take the fire in the kitchen, get out of here.